Now, of course, I'm using this other Bible, and I'm trying to remember where we're at, but I think we're in verse number 23. Is that right? Or did we get past that? No, we went past that. No, I think we're around there. Yeah, that's it. Verse 25 is quoted by my wife, I don't know how many times. And she probably doesn't even know she's quoting the Bible when she does it. It says, "Behold, I have told you before." You know, I mean, that's a good way to start right there. You know, "Behold, I have told you before." I told you before. And, Jesus is reminding them of things. And, this time, if you look at the book of Matthew as it happens, this is right before he is taken. And it's one of those things where he's saying, look, I've told you this stuff before, but I want to make sure you remember it. All these things that Moses did in the book of Deuteronomy, I believe he told them all these things that he had already told them before. They were in the book of the law, but he wanted to make sure they remembered it. Well, this is near the time that Jesus is ready to leave. It's about time for him to go to the cross, and he wants to make sure he gives them their final instructions and warn them of the things that's coming. It says, "Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore," and it's talking about the false prophets there. In verse 24, "For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets," and we talked about that last week. But it says, "Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not." You're not going to mistake the Lord's coming the next time. And that's what he's saying. He says, if they tell you he's back, don't believe it. And so basically, if anybody tells you they've seen Jesus come and look at him, you don't have to believe it. I think that's as clear as it can be. You shouldn't believe it. You're going to be deceived if you do believe it. But it says, "For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." I'm not coming in a manger anymore. I'm not going to be born again. He's coming straight from the heavens, and I believe it's going to happen just like that. And it's going to be, have you ever been driving along and seen one of those really impressive thunderstorms? That's the one thing. Down in Florida, I've noticed that when we were down there, and there's a thunderstorm off in the distance, and it can be 30, 40 miles away. You can see the lightning just spread across the sky, and it's a gorgeous sight, but it's unmistakable. Okay, and I think that's what he's saying here. Not only is it going to be fast, but it will be unmistakable when the Lord comes back.
There won't be no secret. I mean, nobody will have to come tell you it's already happened. I think everybody's going to know.
All right.
He wants that for he's coming.
That's right. So, and, we've got a promise that he is coming back, and we don't know when. Remember what we talked about 2 weeks ago, though. I don't think the church is going to be surprised. It says that you won't be, it tells us that we'll know. And that's in 1 Thessalonians. It says you will not be overtaken as a thief, is what it says. Why? Because you'll be looking for him. Does that mean the thief's not going to try to break into your door? No, it means that you're ready for him when he comes. Kind of like I talked about, and that's what we're supposed to be. We don't necessarily know when they're coming, but the thing is that we have to be prepared and ready for it. And I believe that's what he's saying here. It says, "For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together." Didn't we talk about that last week? Seems like we did. So I think we did get that far. But it's says, so basically, because I remember totally being stumped on that too. But you know, if we're where the carcass is the eagle's food, and you know, wherever when Jesus comes back, He's the bread of life. Let's say it this way, and then there's another way to say it. You know, if we're dead in sin, the devils are going to gather around, and they're going to see that you're deceived, and they're going to overtake you. That's one way to look at it. The other way is when Jesus comes back, He's the bread of life. We're going to gather toward Him. That's where our bread's going to come from. That's where our meat's going to come from. The eagles gather wherever the food is. I'm driving out Bloomingdale Road just earlier I might have been late last week or might have been Tuesday. I can't remember. Everything runs together. But I saw a possum that was there just kind of jerking in the road. He had just been hit, about ready to die. Well, you know, that carcass doesn't last long. Those birds are right there ready to pounce as soon as it dies. So, you know, we need to be ready to eat when the time comes. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's a scary time, isn't it? But it's after the tribulation. And that's what it says, that at the end of it. The sun's going to be darkened. It doesn't say dimmed, it says darkened. Okay? The moon, if the sun doesn't shine, we know the moon doesn't shine. The stars shall fall from the heavens, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. I have dreams occasionally because I like to watch disaster movies, and that's what's in my head, of what it would be like in a meteor shower. And can you imagine? I mean, you can see it coming, but there is nothing you can do about it. That's what it's going to be like. The stars are going to fall from heaven, and there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. The sun's going to be darkened. You might see some flashes of light here and there, but it's going to be a terrible, terrible place to be. And then, so that's right at the end of the tribulation, okay? That's what it says. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. This is at the end of the tribulation. You remember? I said He's not going to set foot on this earth until after the tribulation period. Does that mean He's not coming back to get us till after? I don't think so. I think He's coming back, but we meet Him in clouds then. Here He's coming back to establish His kingdom. The sun darkens because we don't need it anymore. The moon darkens. The stars fall. We don't need those artificial lights anymore. We've got, you know, during the day, what do? We can come in here and we don't even have to turn these lights on. Why? Because we've got natural light coming in from the outside. We don't need these artificial lights. Well, God won't need those artificial lights either, because He's going to be the light. And He's going to be the one, the light of the world. And it says, He shall appear, then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Now, a lot of people debate what this sign may be. And it's going to be, it's going to be swift. It's going to be sudden. There's not going to be any time for, now's the time for me to repent. No, not then. It's too late at that point. But the sign, what is the sign? Anybody got any thoughts on that? What would the sign of the coming of the Son of Man be in heaven? In the heavens, it says. I'll tell you what the writers of the and this is just their guess, and it could be a lot of different things, but they imagine a big cross in the sky because that's where He won the victory. You know, and that's as good a guess as any. But we don't know what it is. I mean, it could be the manger He was born in. It could be the stone that was rolled away. It could be a name that's written that says Jesus. I mean, it could be anything. It could be like a marquee sign. I mean, who knows what it's going to be? But it's going to be unmistakable, and everybody's going to know what it means when he appears. They shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Not in a stable and as a baby, but with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Sounds to me like they're coming from up there too. Maybe we're all there. But one end to the other, the angels are gathering them all together. It says, now learn a parable with a fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. Now, what does that generation has passed? What's happened? Those signs were fulfilled, and he's taking the church through time until it's time for him to go. But it says, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. See, these people that like to predict these things apparently ignored this first. Of that day and hour knoweth no man. Not only can you not predict the hour, you can't predict the day. Okay, if you can't predict the day, you're not going to be able to predict the year. And so we don't know when it's going to be. Now, here's what I've always thought, and this is my personal opinion. And again, I'm not predicting it. I just think it's kind of interesting to think about. But, you know, Jesus said on the third day he would arise. Well, we're also told somewhere else is that 1,000 years is a day, and a day is 1,000 years. If that's true, then where are we? We're in the morning of the third day. 2,000 years have passed, over 2,000 years. We're now in the morning of that third day. It's interesting to think about. So, we're probably getting a little closer than we even realize. But we don't know when. I mean, I'm not sitting here and saying it's going to happen on Tuesday, or it's not going to happen it's going to happen on Saturday. I'll tell you, the video of the man preaching that one time really hit me hard. I was like, wow, that could happen. That's the way it's probably going to happen. He's up here preaching in a big way. Jesus Christ is coming back for his children. He could come back he could come back this month. He could come back this week, or he could even gone. 90% of the church disappeared, and several of them looking around wondering what in the world has happened. But it was too late. And it's going to be that fast. We don't know when it's going to happen. But the point in telling us that is you need to be prepared now. You look at the hurricane that's going on and headed toward Florida. There is a good chance. Just as good a chance it's going to miss Florida as it's going to hit Florida. Just as good a chance as it's going to hit Myrtle Beach, it's going to miss Myrtle Beach. There's probably about a 50-50 chance of those. But what do? Do you assume it's not going to happen? And say, I'll be all right, don't need to do anything? And then what happens when it does? Then you're not ready. Would you rather, I've always said this, I'd rather, about anything, I said, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You know, I mean, that's as simple as that. And that's not a very good analogy, by the way, when it comes to Jesus. Because I know I need him. And I don't just need him for this time. I need him now for getting through this life. Otherwise, I don't see how people make it. And that's what, and it's like You know, people make runs on water. People make runs on milk. People make runs on toilet paper. I'm like, the only time people go to the bathroom is when it snows, apparently. That's all I can figure. I don't know. And what really gets me is it always seems to work out that the day before the big snow, we look and realize, oh no, we're going to look like morons because we're going to the store to get toilet paper and milk. I'm like, well, that's not good. Well, we're going to look like the rest of them that we're talking about. But, you know, you've got to be prepared. And you know, you look at the store shelves down in Florida, and you go out, and you're not going to be able to buy water tomorrow. Maybe not even today. Why? Because other people have already gone to get it, and you decided you didn't need to be prepared right now. I'll wait till tomorrow. And that's exactly what's going to happen with a lot of people. They're going to see Jesus come back, and they're going to go to the store to buy their water. They're going to try to get that living water, and they're going to find out it's not there. It's too late. So you got to be prepared. And that's why I decided to do this for the last few lessons, is to make sure that we're prepared. Make sure that we're ready. Make sure we recognize the signs of the days and the times that we're living in, because the most important message that he's teaching them here is we need to be prepared. But he did give us a little bit of a warning. It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And I always wondered about that. I'm like, what was that like? What do you mean? Was it that evil? Was it that bad? What are you talking about? And I never did understand this, but I want to clarify this because I finally got it one day. It says, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And I'm like, we eat and drink. We've done it throughout time. We have to. That's how we live. We marry and give in marriage, you know, and that's nothing unusual. There's nothing wrong with that. What does he mean here? Basically, what he's saying is the world today is walking around completely unconcerned with anything except right now and what's today. They're not concerned with tomorrow. They're not planning for their future. They're not planning for eternity. All they're worrying about is making themselves happy now. And that's the way I think that's what has caused the world to turn the way it has. It's what makes me happy now, and that's what I want to do. Not what does God want me to do? Not what is leading me. Where is God leading me? And is it going to be hard? You know, what does it say? You know, hard work pays off down the road, but procrastination pays off now. And that's what we do. We wait and we wait and we wait and we say we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow, and then it never gets done. And that's what I believe He's wanting us to do, is to realize we need to make preparations now. Yeah, it's okay to eat and drink. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you're going to die after 3 days if you don't drink. And and I'm not talking about alcohol people. Okay, I'm just making sure you understand. There's some people that would probably die if they didn't drink alcohol after 3 days. But it's they're all Baptists, so it's not all of them. So most of them are, though. But we... You know, you've got to eat, you've got to drink, you've got to marry. We marry. It says it's better to marry than to burn, right? You know, that's what it says. It's okay to marry. It's okay to give in marriage. It's okay. But what he's saying is, don't go around so concerned with what's happening today that you forget about your eternity. Make sure that's taken care of first. It says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. They didn't heed the signs. You know, God told Noah that it was going to rain. These people walked around and saw this ark. Maybe even laughed at it. But that was a sign to them that they needed to be prepared. But they decided they didn't need to be. It's never rained before. It's not going to rain this time. Jesus hasn't come back yet. He's not going to come back next time. That's what they're saying. That's what the world's saying. He hasn't come back yet, so why is he coming back now? All I know is this. I'm in an airplane. Somebody hands me a parachute, and this is the way a lot of people think. They'll put it on. Now, let's say you're in an airplane, they tell you need to put this parachute on. They don't tell you why. And that's the way we are. We tell people they need to be saved. Saved from what? What is it you're ready to do? You better be prepared to tell them what it is and why it is they need salvation. So they put on this parachute, and what they find out it's awful heavy. And I'm in a good airplane. So why do I even need this parachute? So you take it off, you put it back in the storage area, and then all of a sudden that engine blows out. And the parachute falls out the door before you have a chance to grab it. So what happens? You're stuck in a plane that's going down. Well, it's the same thing. Today, we're not explaining to them why they need that parachute. Imagine if you knew that plane's engine was about to explode. Here, put this on. This plane is going down, and you're going to die if you don't put this on. I don't care how heavy that parachute gets. I don't care how burdensome it is. You're not going to take it off for anything. You're going to keep it on, and then when that plane does start to go down, you're saved because you bore that burden. Well, it's the same thing with us today. We don't tell the world what's coming. And so when they try Jesus, we always say, well, try him out. No, you get to know him. Don't try him out. Get to know him in that free pardon of sin. And then what you're going to find out is, yes, the burdens are heavy. See, the problem is they don't understand what they're being saved from, so they think they're saved. They're not. And then when the burden gets too heavy, they just walk away and throw the parachute away. Well, when the time comes, they're not going to have that salvation with them. But if you really know him, and you know what you're being saved from, it doesn't matter how heavy the burdens get, you're going to keep it on. You're going to keep Jesus right there with you so that when the time comes and he comes back for his children, you're going to be one of them. It says, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken, the other left. Two standing next to each other. One of the most powerful scenes I have ever seen is in this new Left Behind movie that they came out with Nicolas Cage. And she's standing there talking to her little brother. Okay, a teenage girl standing there talking to her little brother. And she asking him about his baseball game, and he's telling her about it. And she says, oh, I'm so proud of you. And she goes to hug him, and she gets about right here, and he's gone, and she hugs his clothes. His clothes are left, but he's gone, and she's left behind. That's the way it's going to be. It says one will be taken, the other left. And we need to be prepared so that we're the ones that are taken. We don't like to be taken down here, but I'll tell you, this is one time being kidnapked's a good thing. You want to be one of the ones that are taken. You don't want to be left behind. It says, watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in which watch the thief would come, he would have watched, and he would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. Whenever you're not ready, is when he's coming. Not us. I think the church will always be ready, but in the world today, in an hour which you think not. And maybe it's not that we will sit there and look and be looking up, but maybe we won't be necessarily thinking about it at the time. We just say, well, we'll be going about our life, but we'll be ready. And then when he calls, we'll look up, I believe we'll be ready to go. So, what he said was, if a thief was breaking into your house and you knew when he was coming, you'd sit there and wait for him, wouldn't you? I still love that commercial where the girl sitting there on the couch. I mentioned that last week, I think. The girl sitting there, or 2 weeks ago maybe, the girl sitting there on the couch, and she hears the guy knock on the door, looks out, and there's nobody there. Hears the guy knock on the door, looks out, nobody there, and he's kind of ducking underneath so she can't see him, so she'll open the door. He can force his way in. Well, after about 2 or 3 times of this, she goes in and gets her gun, sets it on the counter, and she hears him opening the door, jiggling the door, and he opens the door and forces his way in, and there she is with the gun pointed right in his face. She was prepared. And that she was saved because she was prepared. He passes out, and then he wakes up and handcuffs. The police are there. It's really hilarious to watch. But the point is, she was ready. She was prepared. The whole point to Matthew chapter 24 is to be prepared. And it says, "Who then is a good and faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord may rule over his household to give them meat in due season? Blessed is the servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing." Being ready. "Verily I say unto you that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and eat and drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day which he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of, and he shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth." And that's what's coming. If you're not ready, if you say, "Well, he's not coming today, so I'll dabble a little bit in the world," or "He's not coming today, I'm good. I'll just go out and go to this one party. That's all it takes. And I'm just going to go to one party, and he's not coming today. I'll be fine." And so you do that one time, and he comes back, and that's what he finds when he comes back. When you're doing something, ask if it's something that you'd be proud that God found you doing. If not, might not be a good idea to do it. And that's what he's saying here. Now, chapter 25 goes into the 10 bridesmaids and things like that. Similar story. Be ready. You make sure you have your lamps burning, your oil in your lamps, and it can't be. You've got to be prepared for the coming of the Lord. Anybody else have anything at all? Anybody got any thoughts on that sign? I'm just curious if anybody else has any other thoughts of what it could be. Maybe a lamb? I don't know.
I thought it would be like that cross that we got on the picture. When it comes on.
Yeah.
It shines out in the sky a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to make the most sense to me. But God thinks different than we do. His ways are as far above us. I wonder if it would be the cross in heaven, and then you see Jesus appear on the cross, and he comes down off the cross and sets foot. I don't know.
When I used to, I still teach the teenagers, but preteens now. But when I taught the teenagers, we taught this and we talked about this. And one of the guys, it was Gary's grandson, Caleb, he said to me, he's like, he said, "Do you think Jesus will appear because stepped out on the cloud and see Jesus coming or whatever?" And he said, "But the world's a big place." He said, "Is everybody going to see you?" I really never thought about that. We'll see him here, they'll see him in Asia, all those things. So it's pretty amazing to me how he could just feel like it'll be bubble head. It will be him on the clouds, riding around the world. Because it'll be instant. So
And
that's pretty amazing.
I think everybody will see him, and when he calls you, I believe he'll call you by your name. And that's the most amazing part. And everybody will hear him in their own language, Well, we'll all have one language at that point. When he gets back, he scrambled the languages back at the Tower of Babel, and it's about time to, when we have that one time, we all think we'll be speaking English. Probably not. But we do. It's exciting to think about. Until then, be ready. Don't just go about your life not thinking anything about him, because he is coming back. Anybody have anything else? Alrighty. Well, again, be much in prayer for those that are traveling. I got Amy at work is the one in the is the one that's going to be stuck out on the cruise ship. Oh, poor girl. And Barbie, if she drives tomorrow, or if she flies Friday, or if she drives tomorrow, or whatever, I don't know. So just pray that she'll make the right decision and just stay safe wherever she's at. So Ladies' Aid's going to be Friday now? Okay. Ladies' Aid and Men's Aid. So, right. How about Farm Aid?
Directions, if anybody needs directions to our home.
Okay.
It's at 6:30. Everybody's welcome. More the merrier.
Are you right off of Black Oak? Is Black Oak around there somewhere? Huh? Base Cove. That's what it is. Base Cove. Okay. 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 Alrighty. Everybody remember that. Any other announcements? Lord willing, we'll have Daniel Sutherland will be preaching for us on Sunday morning. So be much in prayer for that. Had him scheduled since I think about most of us missed him the last time we were here. I think most of us were on vacation. It seemed like there was quite a few of us gone that week. So I asked him to come back soon, and this was the date he gave me. So, anybody else? Brother Roger Castle will be here on the 24th that night. So, all right. Walkathon is Saturday if anybody wants to go.
We need to check to them somehow.
Oh yeah. Planning on what? Okay, we'll get it to them and they can take it to them. If that's all right. Y'all mind? You can get it Friday, I guess. You can pick it up Friday at their house, I guess. That'll be good. Have y'all switched the checkbooks over so he can still write the checks? Okay. Alrighty. Anything else? Let's all stand. We'll be dismissed. Brandon, will you dismiss us?
Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight for this terrible thing that happens. We pray to God that you be with each and every one of us now as we worship, Lord, keep us safe and rest upon the time. Make it back to your house for us to be answered in the first name of Jesus. Amen.